Hi! Can HRT reverse baldness? Yes, it can. The studies are in, the research is in. However, only recent balding. If you've been balding for like 10 years, I wouldn't hold your breath. However, if you've been balding within the last 4 years, then yes, there's a good chance you can actually get your hair back. First, we have to understand how baldness works. Baldness in male pattern baldness, otherwise known as androgenic alopecia, is caused by the hormone DHT. As a male gets older, their DHT increases and it pushes your hair out, put simply. But on HRT, because we have no testosterone, there's no testosterone to be converted into DHT, and so no DHT, no baldness. So if you've been recently balding within the last 4 years, you're now on HRT, suppressing your DHT, and that blocks any further male pattern baldness. And if your follicles are still alive, they'll start regrowing hair. We have here a 33-year-old transgender female who, as you can see, was going pretty damn bald. That is awful. However, this is just after 6 months of HRT. This is just HRT on its own, estrogen and Spiro. This is 5 milligram estrogen daily and 150 milligram Spiro daily, and nothing else. As you can see, the difference is night and day. But you notice the temples, there's no regrowth here. I suspect she lost these years and years ago, and the follicles are well and truly dead. As I say, if the follicles are dead, well, there's nothing from the hair for the hair to regrow from, right? So do we need to be on a Spiro or another anti-androgen to get your hair regrowth? No. As it says here, if you can achieve monotherapy, if you can achieve testosterone suppression with estrogen alone, which you usually do on injections, for example, the researchers say you'll get the hair regrowth just the same. See, the Spiro, all Spiro is doing is suppressing testosterone, so it's preventing that DHT conversion. So that's good news for people who have been balding within the last 4 years. What about those of us who have been balding longer? I started going bald when I was 17. I used to be a punk rocker. Well, I guess I still am, really. I'm punk at heart still. I used to keep my I had a Mohican. I had a Mohican when I was like 13. From 13 to 15, I had a big Mohican. And I used to use everything to keep it up. Super glue, car spray paint, egg whites, sugar. You can imagine how healthy that was on my hair, can't you? And then when I was 17, I was spiking my hair up one morning, and a great big clump came out in my hand. It just came out of my scalp. It didn't feel it. Didn't feel anything. I just moved my hand and whoop, a great big cone of hair. It was horrible. So I've had baldness at my temples ever since then. HRT's done nothing there. But I also started going bald at my crown. The crown of my head. HRT has regrew that. I've got my crown hair back. That's growing back naturally. But the ones at the temples, the follicles are probably well and truly dead. So is there something we can do about it? And this video is mostly to debunk any misinformation, okay? There's minoxidil and topical finasteride. This is a popular treatment for baldness, but it suffers from the same problem. Minoxidil can only work with follicles that are alive. Now, there are a few, and I mean a few cases, where follicles seemed dead, but they've just laid dormant and minoxidil can kick some life into them. So minoxidil and topical finasteride, just to block any DHT production at all, is worth trying. It's worth trying. But if you've been bald for a long time, like over 10 years ago, I wouldn't hold my breath, but it's worth trying. Maybe you're one of the lucky ones where the follicles are just dormant and not completely dead. There is a common problem with minoxidil you've probably heard of. Once you stop taking minoxidil, your hair will just start falling out again. Right? You know this, you've heard this. But why does hair fall out? Because of DHT. There's actually been no studies done on minoxidil on transgender women. Theory on paper, transgender woman taking minoxidil will get the hair regrowth, and if you stop taking it, you should keep it. It shouldn't fall out because there's no DHT there for androgenic alopecia to take place, right? Minoxidil is relatively cheap, so it's worth a try. That's minoxidil with topical finasteride. Make sure it's topical. You don't really need finasteride, especially if you're monotherapy. So you've tried minoxidil and topical finasteride. You still see no hair growth. Unfortunately, that means you're one of the unlucky ones where your follicles are well and truly 6 feet under. They are extinct. They are kaput. They are capiche. Capiche? That one doesn't make sense. You know what I mean. They're gone. They're gone forever. Nothing. There's no technology right now that makes hair follicles come back to life. Your only options really is a hair transplant. Now, they are working on technology for follicle implants, where you can just implant follicles into your head yourself. But this is quite a way off yet. But they are working on it. Where my temples are, I can't afford hair transplants yet. So what I'm doing, they're called... the hair you have for your temples, right, on women, they're called face framers. It's the face framer hair. You know this... Look at the front here. You see this hair here that's waggling under my eyes? Boop, 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 boop. There you go. Face framers. These are your face framers. And you can actually get face framing hair extensions. Like here. Boop. I've just got a couple of these that I stick under my main hair. Blends in quite well. I just use that for now. Thankfully I don't need a full-on wig, but if your baldness is terrible, then wigs are an option. I recommend a human hair wig, full lace. Don't go for the cheap looking cosplay type wigs, because they will look awful on you and they will out you. You will look like an obvious, you know, because more dysphoria in the end. So to recap, can HRT reverse baldness? Yes, as long as you're Norwood 3. Anything over Norwood 3, don't hold your breath. Look for other options. Norwood 3, by the way, is a great time to start minoxidil and topical finasteride. Norwood 4, you may start minoxidil and topical finasteride. May do something for you, but this is probably the time you should start looking into hair transplants. Okay, my babies, I'm sorry I couldn't have been more help. I hope I could have been. But I hope at least this has answered your question. Thank you to my new patron, King Staxx. Very much appreciated. Any kind of content you'd like to see, just hit me up on Patreon. Feel free to message me and let me know what you'd like to see. And of course, thank you to the lovely Kosmo, who has been with me for quite some time now, surprisingly. So thank you, Kosmo. I'll see you next time. Bye bye. Zippity.